right. Thanks. It has been a pleasure and long waiting since November until now. So we finally gathered together. And I really want to share the message to you is already showing that. The network will be our future computer. So the network is my computer. And I see some elderly people here. Maybe they heard about Sun Microsystem. They had a similar slogan 20 years ago. And the slogan was the network is a computer. So what's the difference between a computer and my computer? Mine is mine. So I want to be the boss of my data. I want to controlling my data. I want to in control of my destiny. So that's the message I want to give you. Hopefully you will understand what we have been doing. And this is actually means a lot because I see a lot of people scanning the barcode to order something. So we all have this, right? So what do we call it? What do we normally call it? Mobile phone, right? You call it mobile phone. But actually, it's more than a phone. It used to be a phone, okay? Today, it's actually a data collector, okay? So you should call it mobile data collector. Why? Because actually, think of it. How much money you spend to getting such device? 10,000 crown? Something like that, right? If you have a nice iPhone, maybe a little bit more. But in the end, what are we contributing? Okay, we get some convenient, I order a beer, scanning the barcode. But in the end, actually you gave a lot of data to this big tech company and they profit on this kind of data, okay? So we actually did some research at the time at the university already 8 years ago during a EU projects. And we analyzed exactly when we turn on the Google map, and then suddenly we will see how much data they gather while you're using their Google map, okay? So actually every 3 seconds, they know exactly, are we sitting down, are we walking, are we doing something? If you enable the so-called location services, it will be something that they are able to track you. So we do appreciate, we understand Apple recently tried to do something with their new policy, and the European Union also enforcing the GDPR. This is a very good thing. But in order to get control back to us, so that we are totally in control of our data, it needs a lot more to do. So I guess in addition to this so-called mobile data collector, we have another piece of hardware we really cannot relinquish. That's the laptop, okay? It used to be 10 years ago is kind of desktop, but more and more people have some kind of laptop at home. Why do you keep that laptop, okay? So in my prediction, our goal is in 10 years, you should also remove that laptop. You should not have any laptop. You should just have some kind of interface with all your resources, including your data, somewhere in the net, okay? So why do you keep the laptop? Because it's mine, right? Basically, it's like, my data is there, my photo is there, my documents are in the laptop. I cannot relinquish it because, yeah, I have to deal with my data on my laptop, okay? This is the thing. Why don't you put it into the cloud, okay? 20 years ago, when we starting with internet banking, not so many people want to do that, okay? I was one of the first to register the internet banking to get access to it. So today, how many of you do not use internet banking? Please raise your hand. I see no one. Everyone is using the internet banking. But at the time, they say, are you crazy putting your money into the net? I cannot see the bank. I cannot trust it, right? So it's all about all this trust, and of course, it's all about also the mechanism in behind to protect it, so that you are able to trust that your property or your resources will be taken care of properly in the net, okay? So by that time, you will be very happy to remove your laptop and just use your phone or iPad for that reason, okay? So furthermore, more and more things are digitizing, okay? Like this Tesla factory, so robotic, and 3D printing is coming here as well. For the industry, this has become also a more and more urgency, just like we suddenly recognize our data, how vulnerable it is when it's not in our hands. The same thing with the industry, okay? Recently, you heard about what happened in US, right? When the pipeline was hijacking, suddenly the core value might lose, and then they cannot do any business. So in the end, so they gave up, yeah, to just pay and get their core value back. So the same thing happening here in the 5G. What's 5G? 5G are totally different than 4G, okay? 5G is not 4G plus 1. Why are everyone moving into the 5G? Because there's a big business there as well, okay? What's the business there? Well, until 4G, we are paying something like, called a data package, right? I think most of us paying that. How many gigabytes you get by paying a monthly fee, right? But in 5G, a lot more is going on. And what they introduce is something called edge computing, cloud computing in addition. So what's that mean is that you will do also calculation, computation behind it. And then that's why it's very important that you do not lose your core value. It's not just for us, it's also for the industry. I mean, think of it, if you connect everything there, if you suddenly lost your core value, you might not have a business anymore, okay? So that's why it's very, very important, not just for us, but also for the industry to understand that we have to be the boss of our own data or our own resources. So that's not just about storing a file. It's also about doing analytics, doing computing on those data, or getting value on those data. So the whole thing will actually give us a new platform, new model, and new ecosystem, and new business. So this is what we're targeting. We do believe this can be a breakthrough, especially the young people over here. I hope you can also contribute in the end, so we will be doing something on the open source. So looking back here, why are we attached to this so-called centralized solution? Because it's easy. Yeah. Most of the time, we want to synchronize, update, right? So it's easy to have a single point. We just go there and update. Once it's update, everyone else can see it, okay? For example, if you buy a house today, you have to take loose. Where do you take loose it? You have to go to the city hall and take loose it, right? And then once it's announced there, everyone else can see it, right? And this is the way to reach so-called consensus. Easy, right? Because it's a single point. But there's a big problem with that, is a single point of failure. There might be also monopoly controlling that point. Everyone else has to listen to that, right? So that's why we are more and more moving toward so-called distributed or decentralized consensus to reach agreement. Why? Because in that, it will be a lot more difficult for people to just monopolize the whole thing. So power back to the people, that's what we're saying. Yeah. The decentralized way will help us to solve a lot of the problem. Taking back to what we used to know, this is the business model today. Why big tech company, they can monopolize it? Because they have agreement behind, between the companies. And we, customer, are just upfront. We go to different business, customer there and talk to them. But they get alliances. They sign an agreement between them. We are not part of that agreement. Okay? You have an agreement maybe directly to that company, but you are not part of the whole platform. So what we looking for is a platform that involving also the user. So you be part of it so that with that you can actually track all your resources in the platform. So you will have a say about it. Okay? So based on this philosophy, and we have been doing that for a while, since 2017. So we actually have granted EU patents as well. If you watch, if you look, read the newspaper, we established a company called BitYoga. We also received some award locally. And our idea is that the privacy and your own control of the data is new business model. It's actually not a bad thing. It can create a lot of a business. So this is one of the EU projects we have been working on. We believe that we can redefine the social media. In this solution, what we are doing is, for example, today, I see a lot of people taking photo and they will share on Facebook and different media there. But not all of you read the fine print. Actually, once you upload your photo to Facebook or Instagram, it belongs to Facebook and Instagram. It does not belong to you anymore. Okay? So that's the problem. So in our system, we're trying to build a European solution in saying that, well, actually, no, this is my photo. I have control of it. I can actually track who I shared it to. And even after I share it to my friend, and my friend share it further to his or her friends, I can see who that sharing. And in the end, if I do not like the further sharing, I want to take it back, we can do that. Okay? So that's the pattern it's about. I do believe such a solution will be very important, not just for our individual, but also for the industry, because you want to control your future production if it's all automated. Think of it, it's very dangerous, right? When everything is automated, robot, someone else can buy the same robot and they can buy the same material. Once they get the blueprint, they can reproduce the perfect copy. Just like today, you go into a copy machine and you can make a perfect copy of whatever you want to copy, right? So that's why controlling that digital file is very important, because that could become your core value. So in addition, so we recently also working together with the hospital to enable so-called federated learning on cancer. So we work together with a hospital in Spain, another hospital in Rotterdam, and the local hospital here on skin cancer. The skin cancer, the image is 5 GB size, and you do not want to merge them into a big lake or big database before you can do artificial intelligence on it. So what we do is we use our system to enable them to do analyze in the Spain and in Rotterdam and also in Stavanger without merging them. We rather bring the computation to where the data is. And this is a very powerful solution that can help us in the future to get control of our data. Another project we recently, together with Ladao Medical and the local hospital, is doing is analyzing the newborn baby's images, trying to observe some abnormality of it. So what we're providing in this solution is actually tracking the consensus from the mother and the parents on allowing us to take the video to where the video will be used along the way in the systems, so we will be able to track it. So this is very powerful. Why? Because once people trust it, so they can share a lot more. Today, because we are afraid our data might be misused, we might collect a lot less data that might be useful, okay? So our system will be able to give the power back to the people so that they are in control and they can say what they want to use their data for. For example, if I have skin cancer, I would love to share my data to some research institution to do research on it, find out a solution on it. This will be benefit for the mankind. But I do not want to share it because some other company just want to make a profit, making some thing that they want to sell. All right? So that's why, in the end, I'm showing this photo. This is actually the data center in our university. And we just recently started up a new open source development, what we call the open infrastructure as code. So the idea is that we want to providing the data center services as an open services, as the user in control, and they can manage what the resource is sharing across the different silo, and they are in command. And we will also allowing you, just like using your mobile phone. Today you're using mobile phone, going to different country, you will get the services in different places. So in the future, why you want to bring your mobile laptop? Because you bring also along your data along, right? But in the future, with our system, we will enable you, if you go to Spain and go to other country, US or China, doesn't matter. We will also allow your data to share along this network, but it's you who is in control of this data. So this is the open source initiative. We just started it. So if the young people here likes it, so you can also join in to us. Okay? Thank you for today's attention.